this. Really late recording. All right. Welcome, YouTube. Currently a game up in Black-White Eldrazi. So I beat my opponent with infinite life, which means to me that they're definitely going to try to stop that from happening. Whatever you beat an opponent with, they usually try to stop that exact scenario from happening again. So this is the 60 I would run with, or I will run with. Notice I cut the Scavenging Ooze and I cut the life gain. I wanted to minimize the damage that Rest in Peace here will do to me. They ran Wasteland Strangler game 1, so Rest in Peace is probably already part of their plan. This hand would be perfect if I had a green mana source in it. They'll never. They know I have Ballista. They've got to know, so they know that that's gonna come. But there's that little human element, that 2%, where I didn't lose to Ballista, I lost to Finks. So, and even this even happens at high level play. You can see it in some of the in my winning end to get in on the 10K. You can see that little thing, like my opponent was like, oh, I'm not losing to that again, and then he over committed to that one thing. So if I hit a green mana source, which I have a Gavany Township left and a swamp, so I've run 21 lands. 21 minus 4 is 17. I have 17 green sources left in my deck that I'd be fine with drawing. 17 out of 53. I have realistically 2 draws to hit it. I'm not comfortable with that. This is a much better hand. Turn 1 Bird, turn 2 Knight of Autumn, turn 3 Collected Company seems pretty sweet to me. Probably should have played the Windswept Heath, get a basic forest there, just in case they play a Leonin Arbiter here, but... Okay, yep, slightly punished for that then. The good news is that I actually don't want to play Knight of Autumn here anyway, because there's nothing for it to hit. So... let's do that. This looks like a Thought Knot. Yep, so Thought Knot will take a Collected Company here. And then I will just cast Collected Company on my turn. And Collected Company does not search my library. So I briefly mentioned this is a homebrew beer that my wife made, and it is very, very good. I get spoiled. She's actually making wine right now. She's cleaning some bottles to make a red wine. She made a white before. So my hand is very, very good here. Eternal Witness and Company are natural pairings. What about Mead? Yeah, taking that means I think that they have like a Rest in Peace, and they're really worried about... So they're strip mining me? Yeah, so I'll just do it now. I think they think that they can knock me off of lands. I mean, this strip mine's pretty good here, but it's not game-ending. Even though I thought not Seer here isn't actually that terrible, it's just going to take a company. I really think that they have like a Rest in Peace in hand, to be honest. Why else would you take the creature? Unless they're afraid of combat math and they want the 4/4s and to control the board. But if you want to control the board, I generally feel like, well, first of all, they wouldn't offer that trade. I'm going to let my Duskwatch Recruiter flip here. I want him to flip. He's bigger. And he'll let me cast Eternal Witness cheaper. So my opponent, sorry, I'm all over the map today. I think I had too much caffeine. My opponent taking the Knight of Autumn signifies I think that they have that type of card in their hand. So Gideon Cord at the bottom. I've knocked off white mana, except for my bird here. I actually haven't been, Chris, I haven't been really big on mead. I'll just take 8, go down to 7 here, and have a chance to win right now. Andrew, is this why you're off the deck? Okay, I just need a Vizier and I can win the game. Yeah, the old swing and miss. One thing I didn't really talk about was the way I manipulated Duskwatch here was you want to path my Druid. Kill the Druid. Okay. The way I manipulated him to flip him back and forth there. You can see the other side of Duskwatch Recruiter is very, very good for us. And I'll fall to 1 here. If they weren't attacking with Leonin Arbiter, I would double block and kill a Thought-Knot Seer, but my opponent was very good at the combat math here and kept me from doing that. And if I have a good company hit, I can win right now. Oh, it's not over yet. Hey, that's 2 company whiffs, right? Any removal spell wins the game for my opponent. Our live draws are Cord. There's not really a live draw. Because Vizier's not even a live draw because we have no white mana because their opponent took us off of it, which is very well done on their part. Yep, it's over. I have to double block and then I can't recover from that. So I did not see Rest in Peace. Why then was the Knight of Autumn so important for my opponent to take there? I think my opponent just wanted to knock me off of a 4-3. I think that's what that was there. So I'm going to go back, having the Infinite Life Plan back in my deck. And that was off of a mulligan. Remember, we did mulligan that hand, and we still almost won, despite the opponent having double Thought-Knot, because we changed so many companies back back to back to back. Unfortunately, none of the companies gave us something that we run 4 of in the deck. Paths, yeah, paths are fine. I think I brought 2 in, right? Yep, I brought 2 paths in, which isn't many, but it is enough to count for something here. Yes, yes. I brought the Infinite Life plan back, but remember, not much of it because I didn't see any graveyard hate. So I want that option back to me. For example, last game, I would not have conceded if I still had Kitchen Finks in my deck. Even just one of it, because then I could have drawn into that. So opponent's going to take the Collected Company here, which means we can't win next turn unless we draw very well. We need to draw a Vizier and then get lucky with the Canopy or something like that, or Cord be the best possible draw. Okay, so we drew the Cord, and our opponent can cry. Oh, what was that? You press W and you do it? Oh, that is so much faster, guys. That is so much faster. Okay. 1-0. We beat... what do you guys call that? Black-white taxes? Imagine if our opponent is Jund. Oh, this hand is terrible. This hand is terrible. I'm not keeping it. But imagine if our opponent was Jund. Turn 1 Viscera Seer, turn 2, who cares? Then I just keep looping Eternal Witnesses. If I draw a Company, this hand is absolute gold. But this hand is very bad. You do not keep this hand unless you know your opponent is something like Mardu Pyromancer, actually. Because Jund technically has Scavenging Ooze, which would eliminate the entire value of this hand. So my general rule is I need a Mana Dork or I need Druid. This has 2 Mana Dorks, so I will keep this. And bottom the Eternal Witness. I'm digging for Druid. I'm always digging for Druid when I'm scrying. A turn 1 tapped Blood Crypt. Either way, my play is the same. I'm playing Noble no matter what my opponent is. But turn 1 tapped Blood Crypt means we playing against Hollow One. We playing against Jund. I'm not sure. This could be Grizzlebrand. Blood Crypt Swamp. This could be Grizzlebrand. If it's Grizzlebrand, the correct play is to play Scavenging Ooze. I think the correct line, not being 100% certain, is to play Noble, because then if I top deck a land, I can play Company next turn. But there is a universe that exists where playing Scavenging Ooze is the correct card here. Not Goryo's? Okay, well, good. Good to know that. This is Mardu Pyromancer. I'm not familiar with Fluffy Wolf 2. Is anybody else familiar with Fluffy Wolf 2? For a little while, I was actually I was Googling my opponent's names when I first started playing. Okay, company's down. But people change decks so frequently that it doesn't actually help that much. Unless they're like Angled Lufa or Selphasiac. And you know what they're on anyway, so. Graven Cairns. I don't know any deck in Modern currently running that. I feel like we're going to get Blood Mooned. I feel like there's like a Blood Moon Pack Rat deck. They would pitch something with Brutality, you're correct. Chalice on 2. Right when we draw... So this is just a prison deck, right? I decided to play the odds and that I will draw a land to be able to cast Company. And I win. Opponent has 2 cards in hand, so I can attack with Eternal Witness and then cast Company and be very happy about it. I think this is just black-red, like a prison deck. Well, I know it's a prison. I think it's a black-red moon. This one's tough. I want Viscera Seer if they run Anger of the Gods. I want Bird if they run anything else. I think Seer's just got a higher power level right now. Unfortunately, I did just bottom 2 chords, which is actually pretty relevant. The only way I'll get punished, I get punished for, I was just going to say, the only way I get punished for F6ing there, as I'm trying to undo it, is if they have Anger of the Gods, and they had Anger, so that was just a bad habit. Yeah, Gavening was only good if I drew more Nobles. My opponent has a Chalice on 2, I don't think I put Chalice on 1. Yeah, that's why you don't F6. I just did it out of habit, and you could see I right-clicked to undo it, but it was already too late at that point. The good news is I already have in play a potential win condition. Opponent not casting a spell is interesting. I think they have another Anger. Nope, some instant speed. Okay, so I'm looking for an Eternal Witness here, which I can't play yet. Noble Hierarch would be a decent draw. Liliana seems really weird Chalice because it kind of just is very redundant here. What I should have done is like scribed 6 here. I could have killed my own Finks to start attacking. I need another basic forest to get Eternal Witness to buy back Ballista, and Ballista can try and take over this game. If opponent ults, I think I'm pretty much dead here. Oh, hey, Atomic Waffles. How's it going? I will sacrifice this pile. Opponent is still a long way away from killing me. And I drew just about the perfect card there. Sure. I've been pretty good. Basic forest into company's best possible hope of what I'm looking at right now. I can no longer expect to cast white spells for the remainder of the game. They just drew another Liliana. Yep. Whenever I stream, I play against nonsense. So I finished that league that I'd started streaming this morning, and I played against Tron. What did I say it was? Tron, Bridgevine, Phoenix, and Hollow One, which is like a normal-ish league. So opponent finally has a win condition. My out is still a land into company. My out is gone. So these are cards I'm interested in here. Yeah, I don't know why they have 2 Chalices on 2. I think they're expecting like a Knight of Autumn main. I think that was a mistake. But they couldn't cast a Chalice on 1 because they'd already cast a Chalice on 2, so that would have locked them out. I don't know if Infinite Life wins here. I don't think it does. Because of Coco and fetches, my opponent can still mill me. At the very least, I'm doing this. Anger of the God also lowers Kitchen Finks stock quite a bit. My opponent not really having creatures lowers Kitchen Finks stock quite a bit. Yep. So I'm intrigued by Plaguecrafter. It hits their Hazoret. It also hits their Liliana. I didn't see much else from my opponent, so this is interesting to me. Doesn't mean it's going in. Sin Collector hits Anger of the Gods, so I'm intrigued by that again. And this package here is absolutely going in. That does seem nice for Haz. But I also kind of like Plaguecrafter in that slot. And that's my opponent's win condition. I don't know if I need to stop their win condition. I just need to win before they get to a point where they have a win condition, right? Which I have plenty of turns to do so. I think Knight of Autumn and my general fast combo can kind of get me there. Should be able to get me there first. The problem is this is an Anger of the Gods deck. Anger of the Gods decks are, especially Game 1 Anger decks, are very good against Devoted Druid decks. And I haven't seen many of them in paper. I have not seen many Anger of the God decks in paper at all. Even Junt in paper, I don't see Anger of the Gods. On MTGO, Anger, 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 Anger. Which makes me angry. Hey Garrett, how's it going? I think I'm going to run one Sin Collector. Maybe. This is really the question right here. I think I'm going to run this. Also, would you guys like to take odds as to whether or not this prison deck will keep in Blood Moon against a effectively 2-color deck? Or there's a 3-color deck, but I run Dorks. I will keep this hand. It's not very good, but I have my basics. I have a bird, and then I have a turn 3 company. Normally, I would mulligan this hand for a druid, but I keep having prison deck. I've been playing against a lot of prison decks, and they keep keeping Blood Moon in against me. So unless they Blood Moon right now of all 4 of my basics next turn. Yep. So I'm not actually. Another reason I was more inclined to keep. I actually think this hand is a mulligan in most cases, but I'm less because if they were just a red prison, I would have mulliganed that to try to get an early combo. But because they have Collective Brutality, I wanted to keep a hand which was more resilient to Collective Brutality. So I want to chord for Druid with this current configuration. I think that's yeah, this is a black-red Blood Moon deck. Maybe probably Pack Rat, to be honest. I did see a Pack Rat list recently, 5-0. So this could be either this guy or he's a copycat, or he's been running Red Moon forever and don't want to judge. So I need 5 mana to chord for 2. Here's 4, that's the 5th, which leaves this chunk here, 3 more. So if I company right here, let's say I get 2 hits, I'll have 1, 2, 3. Right, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So I should be able to company and chord, is what I'm actually counting out right now. Assuming I get 2 hits off of the company. Right, company mana, 2 hits, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So I can swing for 1 right here. I am assuming that I'm going to get 2 hits off of the company, though. Kind of everything is banking on that. That's completely fine. Opponent has not dropped a land yet, so I'll wait. Okay. I don't think there's a single difference I want to make here. So I'm just going to jump in and do it. Yeah, I think opponent is leaning hard on. Why would you keep in? So maybe they keep in Blood Moon or Ensnaring Bridge. They choose one, and they chose to keep in Bridge. So let's say I draw a land. I have turn 1 Noble, turn 2 Knight. I don't think this hand is good enough here. This hand's a little better. Anger of the Gods wrecks this hand if I keep company on top. Alright, hold on. Oh, yep, Garrett. Yeah. They game 1 won off of ulting Liliana twice, Liliana the Veil, and then they dropped it. I was waiting to see what their win condition was, and it was Hazoret. So I think I unfortunately have to bottom this Collected Company because I have a 1-land hand. If I had 2 lands in this hand, I would keep company. Temple of Malice. Like if I saw Temple of Malice game 1, I would assume a very different deck. I'm not getting cheesed out by Blood Moon, the 3rd league in a row. Collective Brutality is a potential whiff here. That's much worse. That's a very good draw. Next turn we can Eternal Witness, assuming they don't kill the Noble. Okay. Land. That was basically Blightning. That was just a better Blightning right there, because it's actually able to affect the board. Don't care about Bridge. Yeah, cheeky little swing in for 3 here. Okay. This is fine. So I want to use this Eternal Witness to actually buy back company. So I don't actually want to bin Walking Ballista here, which is really painful. This is just a 2-1. That was a really this is the 2nd match, and that is the 3rd. I kind of want to call this a whiff. That is basically the 3rd whiff we've had off of company. One, two. I do not have enough mana. That Simian Spirit Guide is a cheeky little bastard, and he will block my Noble Hierarch. I did have only 1 true Coco whiff, but it was pretty painful. I think I'm going to do the same game plan and cast Collected Company and then Chord after. Conveniently, that'll also flip my Werewolf. I could Chord for a 1 first. Slaughter Games. Yeah, let's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, let's company. Completely whiff everything, all of our hopes and dreams away. We'll get Vizier and not Plague Crafter because I'm gonna Chord for Druid here and I win. We get Vizier, Duskwatch, any order. The problem is that if they Slaughter Games my Ballista, I don't win. My win condition is I'm going to chord for Shalai. Oh, I should have grabbed Plaguecrafter, made them kill Simian Spirit Guide, and then chorded, and then draw my deck until I draw Shalai, play Shalai, and then win. Yeah, I still win. Not having a black mana for Plaguecrafter is a little rough here. Okay, what was the trick? You said press W? Oh, what was the Slaughter game name? Yeah, it's yeah, Ballista. I just assumed it was Ballista. Gipshalizing Graveyard, so I need a Ewit. Yeah, just I hate how it won't just use the 3 mana I need. Why is it? Do you see this? This is not tapping for white mana. There we go. Yeah, what does W do exactly? I'm just impressing it without actually knowing what it does. So we have exactly 1 white mana left, which is perfectly lethal. Okay. Cool. We beat Prison. We did it. We did it, guys. What was that? Black, Red, Moon, Prison. Yeah, that was a free win. Yeah, their deck was weird. Alright, so I'll keep this hand. So W just makes it so really I just have to click the untap, and then the tap automatically clicks, right? This is Traverse Shadow. Haven't played against this in a while. I haven't seen a lot of Grixis Shadow. I haven't seen a lot of Traverse Shadow. This hand is pretty bad against. Yeah, go ahead. Good news is that they hurt themselves a lot, so even a fair ballista can sometimes steal a win here. Sure. One thing I love about this deck is that people over prepare for the Druid kill. Good. I do not have infinite mana this game. Congratulations, opponent. You're also a deck that runs so much removal and everything else. I'm probably not getting that anyway. I don't see a reason not to attack here. My opponent does not have a shadow in play. 1 damage is not that big of a deal. And if I can drop a ballista as a 2/2 ballista, it might actually be a lot more relevant here. So Finks is gone. Yep. I probably should have got a Temple Garden here, put myself at 15. I don't like that play, but having extra green mana for Chord is pretty important, especially since I don't have green creatures in play. Just a little tidbit. So I'm actually going to drop the Ballista here. The pros and cons list of dropping it next turn is next turn it'll be a 2/2 instead of a 1/1. But if I don't draw anything, it'll be a 2/2 anyway. This way I dodge hand disruption, but I do not dodge a fatal push. Let me catch up on the chat. You were hoping it was Living End. The Phoenix guy did game 1 versus me. He killed Surgical Druid. He untapped and gained life. Yeah, isn't that like the best feeling ever? So, alright, let's say I attack with these two. They'll block here. They'll go to 4. I pump him up, put him at 2. Actually, let's say I attack with everything, right? They block. Let's say they block Vizier. They take 3, then I ping for 2 and I win, right? I've had... My cheeks are pretty red. I don't know if it's just stress or this brew is a little bit stronger than I was inclined to think. I think the brew is a little bit stronger than I was inclined to think. My wife upstairs did a very good job with it. So I believe I just have exactly lethal. As long as I do not attack with the bird. Yep. Opponent sees it. I don't think I have a plan for Traverse Shadow, but it's very similar to... It's actually kind of just a combination here. You can see against Shadow, I actually keep in Walking Ballista, because I think Walking Ballista is such a wonderful card against a deck that likes to lower their life total a lot. They also oftentimes don't expect a fair Ballista, like even just like a 2/2 Ballista is plenty good enough to win. So my plan here is to take out the Ballista combo, but not the Ballista, and bring in removal spells to chain them with Eternal Witness, bring in just a bunch of 2-for-1s. The card I'm most afraid of is actually not there. So the card that Grixis Death Shadow runs that I'm afraid of is Stubborn Denial and Temur Battle Rage. They just have Temur Battle Rage. Unless they're a 4-color shadow, they're not going to be siding into Stubborn Denial. Take out 4 Chord, 2 Druid, a Vizier, and I like taking out a Noble. The reason I take out a Noble instead of a Bird, 1 is because I'm bringing in more black cards generally with Sin Collector, and 2 because birds can sometimes, with a Noble Exalted trigger or a Gavany Township, just win you a game by swinging in for 1 in the air. So not Trophy, I want Decay. Yeah, I was pretty sure it was lethal. I just hadn't double checked the math yet. At least whenever I like, oh, I'm going all in on something, I want to make sure it's correct. So I have 1 card here I want to take out. I think it'll actually be a Vizier. So if you notice, the easier combo from I can still actually get the infinite damage with the Ballista. I'm just not really without Chord. I feel like it's not there. Chord is really the card that makes this deck a combo deck. Without Chord, this deck is very inconsistent at comboing, but still very good at grinding. This hand is very good. I get to turn 1 Bird, turn 2 Sin Collector. Or Fangs. Yeah, 61. So you missed it. I actually registered a 61 card league this morning. The 61 card special. Opponent is ambitiously surgicaling our threats away. So we do not have the infinite life plan, but I'm not planning on comboing this game. So good luck, opponent. Also, I just want to point out, opponent running main board surgical without not in a Snapcaster deck is kind of interesting. Surgicals are very good. I can see the argument for 1 being main, to be honest. I just don't think they're that good. I'm going to get an Overgrown Tomb here, go to 16, then go to 15 off the canopy and play double hot Noble. And next turn I can Sin Collector and path something. Or I can just swing for 2 and start getting my beats on. I feel like this deck is constantly underestimated. Our opponent, and one big reason is that we're underestimated as a mid-range deck. I think oftentimes people just label this deck as a combo deck, and I think that is a huge, huge mistake. So priority here would be take out an Anger of the Gods. Looks like they have a Dismember. Yep. Sure. Targeting our only threat. Opponent has 3 card types. So this Traverse is dead, so I'll take the Fatal Push. And I'll swing for 2. This does make their Death Shadows live. I actually don't mind because I have double Path Exile hand. People do get really salty when a Kitchen Finks Gavany Township deck grinds them out. And I point out, look, I'm running 4 Eternal Witness. I'm going to grind you out. Unless you have Scavenging Ooze. And then in that case, then I'll be the salty one. Oh, I've got to show you guys some salt that I had earlier today. Company. This is the second time this stream I've called the card. So I don't see any blue mana yet, so if they do drop a fetch, I might want to company and play around a Stubborn Denial. We know the 2 cards left in our opponent's hand. I have no Kitchen Finks left in my deck. I think I want the Dusk Watch over the Night of Autumn here. Night of Autumn's a bigger threat. Would actually be a 2-turn clock, but I think I'd rather have the grind here. I assume my opponent is going to draw into removal. That's a good call. Don't call my opponent's shots. So it's safe just to tap out right now. Don't get Andrew started. Don't get Andrew started. He will absolutely. He'll talk. We've had so many conversations. People say Finks is unplayable. It's kind of laughable. So we just win here. Finks is and has been for a long time one of my all-time favorite cards. I can't imagine playing Finks in a deck without Gavany Township, though, to be honest. Unless our opponent has Slaughter Pact, this is game. Yep. Even with Slaughter Pact, I have lethal, I think, anyway, so. Alright, we're 3-0 and happy about it. That was Traverse Shadow and 2. Tell that to my Jund opponent when I play 3 Kitchen Finks and they have spot removal in hand, but it's unplayable. Right. If Kitchen Finks is so bad when your opponent has Scavenging Ooze, I mean so bad. He's almost a liability at that point because you spent 3 mana for a 3/2 gain 2 life. I mean, that is not playable. But when Kitchen Finks is in a deck that he can fall into a infinite life plan, an infinite scry plan. Some people, I mean, if you go back and look at I'll bring it up again. My 10K win, I did not play optimally. That was the 11th round that day. That is a 12-hour day of Magic. More because the rounds weren't that clean, and we did have a 1-hour break. But I kept Kitchen Finks against Ad Nauseam, even though I gained infinite life game 1. My opponent still beat me with Lab Maniac. I kept that in just to make him. It was 2 things. 1, to make him beat me with Lab Maniac, so then that cost him more mana than the Lightning Storm win. And 2, so then I could, worst case scenario, I could scry to an easy win. I did side out a good deal of the Finks combo, but it just so happened that's what I kept drawing into. I wasn't getting Devoted Druid hands. Atomic Waffles. I love Archangel of Thune. I mean, where is it? I built a deck around Archangel of Thune. Look at this. This is a Vanifer Pod list, which is also a Nightfall list, which also a cute combination with Secure Tribe Scout. I got an idea from Grilled Cheese. and with using Secure Tribe Scout, Retreat to Coral Helm to make infinite landfall triggers, and use Corsair to gain infinite life, Tracker infinite clues, or Cobra for infinite mana. But Archangel and Spike Feeder is one of my all-time favorite combos because it doesn't use the graveyard, which is awesome. But I would need to run 22 lands in this list to afford them. Oh, show you the salt. Okay. Labeled it MTGO incident because I reported it. I'll be right back. I'll let you read it. I'll be right back. I actually I'll have to use the restroom, so I'll be back in about 45 seconds. Maybe a minute. Right. Yeah, as Chris is saying. Oh, you can't read it? Oh. Thanks. Let me catch up. Thanks for the. I love this background too. My face is blocking the text box. I'm sorry. So basically, what the opponent said is. Let's see if I can just move it. Here's a scenario. If you look at the board state, there's about 12 minutes left in the clock. This is about a minute in to when the opponent did this. I'm comboing him out with Ballista. I have a Ballista of an 8. He has 7 life left. He's tapped out. He decided to... He told me, sorry if you're playing combo, you have to go through with it. And I wrote, I mean, I can waste your time too if that's what you want. And then he just kept waiting. He would wait, hold priority for 2 minutes. Let me do one more click with the Ballista all the way down until I timed him out when he had... So it was just wasted 12 minutes of my life and his life. I'm glad it wasn't on stream because that would have just wasted everyone's lives for 12 minutes for no good reason. Just not what you play Magic for. Yeah, I mean, yes, I'm playing a combo deck. I had plenty of time on the clock. I'm not gonna time. I wrote to him, like, I'm not gonna time out. I have 14 minutes left. Like, you know, wait till you see Ballista. Sure, 100% do that. I'm not gonna spend 14 minutes tapping for Ballista. Okay, I'm just not. This is a good hand, huh? I run lands. I don't know if you guys saw it, but I do run lands. I will keep this. I have a Scry and 2 draws to hit one of my 20 more lands and 7 mana dorks. I have 27 good hits, which is about half my deck, 27 out of 55. And the land just on top anyway, so. Non-interactive deck so we can win turn 3. This is Storm. Playing against Storm. Snow-covered island into sleight of hand. So we're hoping Storm has a slightly slow hand. Good. They're not dropping a creature here. They're just sculpting their hand. No red mana yet. Storm is, I mean, yeah, as long as they don't kill my druid, we should win here. Okay. So Remand doesn't actually win for my opponent, but might make them think they do. So I have the extra land here. Really good we won game one here. I type in that Ballista is the win con. Yep, just saying show. This is the most painful part of the deck. When you know you've won, and I just want to write that I have the victory in my spreadsheet, but I can't because I haven't actually won yet. Okay. Nice guy, opponent, saving me 100 clicks. So Storm. It's a terrible matchup. We need a good deal of luck or a timely Eidolon to win. We need to watch about Grape Shot. So I take out Collected Company, some Eternal Witness, Finks and Seer, and I bring in removal, Sin Collector, Scooz, and Eidolon. The reason I'm bringing out Collected Company instead of Chord is Collected Company is a grindy card. Chord is a combo card. Finks loses a little bit of value because it doesn't help as much. Infinite Life does win here, but the Infinite Life plan is a little bit slower. Anything anybody here would change diff, do differently? This is my sideboard plan for the matchup. I could see the argument for bringing back a company and taking out an extra Finks, for example. I think that this particular match, I think I want to do that. Opponent made me do the combo till I saw Ballista. They're probably going to make me show Infinite Life. I like this. This is very different than playing it in paper, by the way. So we have 20 lands left and 7 dorks. 27 out of 53 chance that I have 2 draws. I think I keep this, and I think I keep this. Turn 2 Druid, turn 3 Company, and potentially win. If I draw a bird, I can do a turn 2 Sync Collector if I really feel so inclined. I'm not supposed to win this game, by the way. Okay. I'm more inclined to keep a bad hand in a matchup that I'm not supposed to win. Especially a game I am not supposed to win. I'm not supposed to win game 2 here. Six might get better, but I mean, if I had drawn the land there, this hand was pretty good. So this hand had the potential for a turn 3 win, and that is all I'm looking for. I'm looking for either a lock on my opponent, like a turn 2 Eidolon, or a turn 3 win. I don't know if I will be beating Storm with without a turn 3 win here. It didn't matter. They should be putting a land in as one of the options of this pile. And they have it. No land. So Manamorphose is a mana. So they have 1, 2, 3 rituals, so they're going to ritual at least 1. Gonna make him have blue mana, but they just can buy back the Manamorphose. Yep. So if this was a better matchup, I would have mulliganed that hand. But because this is a bad matchup, and I need to get a little lucky to win here anyway, I will not. I'm probably, so against this matchup, I either combo quick or I play like the ultimate fair deck with Eidolon locks. I'm pretty sure we can get a better 6. I absolutely am in love with this 6. Skew's on top sounds perfect. So if they kill the Druid, I'm going to go on Skew's plan. Yeah, this team is terrible. Who invited you? I assume Lightning Bolt here. Yep. So I'm going to be on the Skew's plan. I hope I draw into a Razor Verge Thicket. It's the best possible land I could draw. Shields down. Hope my opponent doesn't win here. Chris, this is what I meant when the deck is super vulnerable to interaction. 1 Lightning Bolt stopped the turn 3 win. That's all it took. I think them attacking with the Goblin Electromancer is a sign of weakness here. I don't think Amulet Titan is a combo deck. I think Amulet Titan is a game 1 combo deck, and then it becomes a mid-range deck, games 2 and 3. Even if I chord for a druid right now, or a company hits a druid, it still slows me down enough where even a deck like Valakut or any deck with a clock could beat me. I am going to shock here and just eat stuff. I thought about companying right there while they're tapped out. If I company into a Sin Collector, that would be awesome when they only have 2 cards left in their hand. But there is a possibility of dying untapping against Storm, so I'd rather not do that. I can also chord for Druid here. I don't think I'm going to. Alright, let's think pros and cons here. Decided at 1 seer, I have 1 seer left. If I company, I can hit some value. If I chord, I can just try to win the game. Yeah, I think chord's probably right then. One of the trickier things about the deck is choosing which one you're doing, chord or company, in a situation like this. I assume my opponent has a remand. They've been sculpting their hand for a few turns. Chord for Eidolon's a decent line. I need Anger of the Gods. Yeah, I know. I actually only sided in 1 removal spell, which was the Singleton Abrupt Decay here. According for Eidolon's a good line. But I went for the win. One mana gifts is stupid. Opponent should just be gifting for things to kill Devoted Druid right here. Flame Slash is a sorcery, so I will put the 2 instant speed spells into the graveyard, leaving my opponent with Flame Slash and Grape Shot in hand, and give me a chance to just win the game right here. At the very least, I can eat their entire graveyard. So my line was going straight for the win. I do like the idea of courting for Eidolon, but in a bad matchup, I was just going straight for the win here. Hey, we beat Storm. We beat Storm, guys. Chat, we did this. Alright, 5-0 Dream lives on. Yeah, that's not you. Yeah, only you did it. It was actually, we couldn't have beaten Storm if you hadn't joined, Ron. In Bad matchup, I'm generally inclined to go more aggressive. Courting for Eidolon is a pretty powerful line, but it gets stopped by one Echoing Truth, which they're definitely, they have one in their main board, I believe, and they're going to side in some other response to stay Dismember and Flame Slash to beat Eidolon. So if I courted for Eidolon, they could have untapped, did exactly what they just did, gifts, Flame Slashed my Eidolon, and then won the game. Yeah, without that Anger of the Gods advice, who knows what would have happened. Cool thing about this deck is I could cast Anger of the Gods. I do run 3 Birds of Paradise. I'm up against Uter 37. I'm on the play. I'm probably not going to hit a second land. I think I need to mulligan this, even though I really like the idea of this hand. This is a 6 I'll keep, as long as I'm not paired against something like Tron. As long as I get paired against a Burn deck or a Jund deck, this hand is very good. It's very slow, very slow. You would mull this 6? Or is the chat catching up? That's 7 I had to mull. I had to mull that 7, especially being on the play. But I like this 6. I don't love it. It's very slow. But not knowing what I'm up against yet, I am inclined to hesitate before I just drop to 5. Chat, what do you think? Let's get your feedback here. This is for the 5-0 dream. I go to 5 quite often with this deck. Yep, game 1, as long as we're paired against something where Kitchen Finks matters, which against a lot of the meta right now, Kitchen Finks does matter. Okay. Opponents sent ... I wrote debating hand, and they wrote lol, okay. So we're going against Grixis Death Shadow. They're going to Thoughtseize us and see how bad our hand is. Yep. I'm not going to fetch with this Windswept Teeth. I want to draw the 3rd land. This hand is very good against Grixis Death Shadow if I can draw 1 more land. Kitchen Finks is a pretty good beating on him that forces him to have Timber Battle Rage. I think we're about to see a Gurmag Angler, though. Blood Crypt and Thoughtseize. Discarding Thoughtseize is a position of power with my opponent knowing how many 2-for-1s I have in my hand. It means they either have TBR and they're just going to go over me, or they have lots of spot removal and plan on attacking through it. I'm inclined to think it's a TBR route. I am not blocking. need my Noble Hierarch, and I need my Viscera Seer. I will fetch this Windswept Heath and to get a Temple Garden, though. I'm actually going to swing here for 2, put my opponent down to 4. Check. What are you checking? Check 1, 2. What's going on, Days? This feels like a Snapcaster Mage to me. Yep. You jinxed me. You jinxed me, Days. I think I actually accept this trade. I think that the trade is more important to me than the scry. Which means I can tap out. I'll gladly fall to 11 if my opponent decides to attack, because then if I top deck a Noble Hierarch and my opponent doesn't do anything, I win. Yep. Best possible draw is a Company. Eternal Witness buying back Company or Shalai would also be pretty sweet. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's got TBR also. So once I get to that point, I got to start blocking, which is next turn. He's got to be playing something here because he's put himself at 3 when I have a Kitchen Finks in play. Okay. Snap push my what? Okay. They have to block, which is fine because I get a cheap free blocker here and some life. If I play Kitchen Finks, it's a decent line. If I play Eternal Witness, I can buy back Shalai or Company and hope to top deck a land. I've seen 4 lands, so I have 17 left, 17 out of 49. There's decent chance there. Not great, but it's the best possible top deck I could hit. Opponent has 1 card left in hand. TBR will not win in the game because my life total is too high. What's that, Atomic Waffles? Finks represents lethal. Finks does represent lethal. So does Eternal Witness. With 4. Or is the chat just catching up again? I've had some chat delays here. I think I'm more inclined to go Eternal Witness into Company here. Opponent has 2 cards in hand, is at 3 life, and I have 4 power on the board. I'm dead if they have exactly Bolt and TBR, and I do not block. Snap Thoughtseize can rip the collected Company, but it also puts them down to 1. Okay, good to know. Because Lord Erolden was telling me that the chat was on a previous stream. It was only for him it was only a 1-minute delay, which has got to be pretty rough. Yep, Thoughtseize. Opponent is going down to 1, which means fetch lands for the rest of the game are dead to them. companies down, or Finks if they are worried about that. I love the fair Ballista shadow kills, which is why in the sideboard I do not side out Ballista here. Opponent needs a removal spell or a creature. They discarded 2 lands. They got the creature. Okay. Ballista for the win. Let's do it. Okay, I'm just going to keep trying to go wider than my opponent. So I'll attack for lethal next turn. Go wide decks generally are what beats Shadow anyway. Either decks that go above them or decks that go wider than them. I can't go above them. I don't run Ugin and I don't run Terminus. But I can go pretty wide here. Which is why our opponent was so scared of that collected company they were willing to put themselves down to 1 life here. Thanks, Ron. Means a lot. I tested Murderous Redcap. Double black is pretty rough. This is interesting here. That's 12 damage. If they have TBR, that's lethal. So I see no reason not. They have two cards. Let's say they have TBR and Bolt, right? So Bolt puts me down to 14. TBR represents 10 on, let's say I don't block 1 for some reason. That's 14. No, I'm not going to block Finks, let's say. So that's 12 plus. So I'm at 14. This would knock me down to 12. This would knock me down to 2. I see no reason in not double blocking Gurmag Angler. Do you guys agree? I think this is the best possible line. Because if this represents 10, 12, 15 damage off of a Bolt and TBR. Thoughts? Wait 10 seconds for chat to catch up. Okay. Yeah, I think they double block over here though. So unless they have exactly surgical extraction, I think I'm safe here. And if they have surgical extraction, I still have 4 power on the board, and they'll need to drop exactly 2 threats to get around it. And then they don't have 2 threats because they have surgical, so I win off of that. Whoever in the chat was saying that people tell them that Kitchen Finks is bad, just show them this this right here. Show them this video. Okay, taking out 4 Chord, 2 Druid, a Vizier, and probably a Noble, bringing in the removal spells there. Alright, and bring in... Yeah, so I was just trying to make sure there was no way I could die. Surgical, I was even safe from surgical. The only thing that could have been bad there is they did not actually have a removal spell in their graveyard, so even if it was surgical and snap, they couldn't surgical all the Finks away with the persist triggers, and then snap, push, and have a block and kill me that way. They couldn't even do that, so... Hopefully that answers your question, Ron. Fluid sideboarding is very difficult in paper. For paper matches, I actually bring a spreadsheet which has my recommendations. It still has the plus thing and everything else. So I want this. Of this pile here, I'm going to take 2 out. Leyline of the Void. Is Grixis Death Shadow running ley lines? Yes or no? I'm going to side like this. If they have ley lines, I'm going to bring in the Knight of Autumns. Surgical, sure. I'm not as worried about surgicals. I think I keep this. I have plenty of mana. I just need to draw into a 2-for-1, and I have a lot of 2-for-1s left in my deck. No, thank you, Atomic Waffles. Leylines would be rough. I think they just had the 2 surgicals. No, surgicals hits one thing. Leyline hits all my 2-for-1s. It hits Eternal Witness and Finks, and it hits Scavenging Ooze, which can be pretty rough. I'm inclined to keep this hand. I have a removal spell. This hand can get completely run over, but I know I'm going to get Thoughtseize to death. I can easily see winning with this hand. I can easily see losing with this hand. I just need to draw well. Opponent did not mulligan. They're going to Thoughtseize away Path, and I need to get some Eternal Witnesses online here. Don't mind showing my opponent what I drew. Yeah, if they took Bird, I'd be like, thank you. Thank you, opponent. If they took Bird, it would show to me if they have Stubborn Denial in hand. I'm not playing around a board wipe. I don't think Shadow decks run board wipes at the moment. And Liliana the Last Hope would absolutely wreck me. I'm admitting that, but I can't really do much about it. Yeah, Days. Yeah, Days. You can't stop this. Look at this. I'm gonna have mana. You can't stop this, Shadow. I hope they Thoughtseize me right now. I think I Horizon Canopy, get rid of it. Hope to hit a Coco. Do one better. Hit an Eternal Witness, which will buy back a path for the Shadow. Next turn, I can go Gavney Township and start pumping up my threats. If they put themselves at a low enough life total, I can one-shot them. Let's pause for a moment. Actually, pause on the upkeep. If her opponent has stubs, so they're forcing me. They're forcing my hand right now. Okay, that's fine. My thought process was if my opponent has Stubborn Denial, I can't really wait because Stubborn Denial wasn't online yet. They have 6. I'm not going to block because I am representing lethal, or pretty close to it with this Township. So a Township represents 5 damage. So I will not actually do that right here, but I will play Finks and Duskwatch Recruiter. Worst possible card my opponent could have in their hand would be Snapcaster Mage, which is a current 3 of in Shadow lists. If I swing here, I get my opponent down to 3. I think that's worth it. That shuts off a lot of their deck. It shuts off their Thoughtseizes and their Street Wraiths. Okay, this was the worst possible card my opponent could have in their hand, and they had it. Opponent went down to 3 anyway, which I'm completely fine about. If they have TBR, I'm dead. That is something I've accepted from this matchup from the beginning. If I have TBR, I am dead. I'm going to do one better. I'm not going to bolt him. I'm going to Ghostfire him. I think opponent's about to Serum Visions. They're digging for it. Why else would they fetch right there? It's a Gurmag? Okay. Opponent's safe for a turn. Removal spell wins me the game. Right? Because I can shock my Temple Garden. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I can swing for this. They'll block these 2 and go down to 1. So I think the line here is play Gideon and start going wide and just passing turn. Next turn I can either attack with Gideon or I can ult him, which should win the game. Opponent needs TBR. Let me know in the chat, guys, if I'm making any mistakes here. If you think that you'd play anything differently. I am not playing around TBR. That is a personal play style. When there's a card that I notice I can't beat, I can't beat TBR in this situation, so I'm not going to try to. Interesting. Okay. So I think I just win here, right? I ult Gideon. Well, I could just ult him, right? And then activate Township. Everything gets 2/2. So I have 2 damage here. They block, 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 and I win. If I fire up Gideon, I only have 4 attackers, and they have 4 here. Yep. Right? Block, 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 2 damage. And that's how you 5-0. Live, on camera, 5-0. Didn't matter either way. Well, I didn't do the... I quickly looked. Oh, because the nobles were... Yep, because both nobles would have blocked. Either way, I won. I just like Emblem and Gideon. So the deck ran pretty well. Plaguecrafter was okay. Still not sold on him. I think it's perfectly reasonable to run almost any card in that slot that could go into the deck. Anafenza, Tireless Tracker, Spellskite, or anything else. What's 35 tickets, Garrett? Oh, just this stuff? Oh, right here. I haven't been selling treasure chests. I actually have a ton. Anyways, deck ran hot. I was pretty content with it. Do you guys have any... Abzan company's great. Absolutely. Anybody who says otherwise is wrong. No. Actually, when I went to, I think... where was it? Was it the IQ? I used to run 2 Eidolon Rhetoric in the Plaguecrafter slot. That was, I did have 2 Eidolons there. I think 2 Eidolons is oftentimes correct. If you want to game plan specifically against Phoenix, I think 2 Eidolons is important. The reason being is that if you can't kill thing in the ice, you can still lock it down with an Eidolon. You can buy yourself a couple turns to draw into a removal spell. Also completely shuts off their Phoenix game plan, so you don't have to worry about Phoenix. A turn 2 Eidolon stops that stops those shenanigans. So you can just win that way. Getting rid of all the chests. Yeah, maybe I will. We'll get rid of all the chests. I'll probably sell them. Actually, I probably should do it now because, as we noticed in the beginning of this video, I'm out of tickets. I have to buy more. So to answer your question, Days, once again, yes. There's a 15 sideboard slot, whatever you're trying to game plan for. If you're trying to beat Phoenix, another Sin Collector will be fine there. Another Eidolon would be great. You could do anything there. You'll give me $1 for the chest. Ron, how about I just open up one of these chests for you right now? I have exactly 100. You ready for this? Bam! Look at that. Is that worth $2? I got 5 play points, a mythic rare, and a godless shrine. I actually don't know what this card is. If you're trying specifically to beat Phoenix, yeah, Godless Shrine's got to be worth $2, right? Well, Godless Shrine 5 points and some mythic. If you're trying specifically to beat Phoenix, I would run the Eidolon. No, it just sells for, I think, $2 right now. Or less, I guess. I also have these Magic Online Player Reward Packs. I don't think I've opened one of these. Bam, I got Tinderwall. I tried to use my new player points, and the queue for them is so long, I never went back to doing it. So I probably just lost money there, right? I opened a treasure chest. I got 5 points and something else. Yeah, Tinderwall seems pretty bad. I don't know what else to do with those things, though. So, Abzan Company, I'm very happy with the deck. To jump more into your inquiries days, and I'll try to do a general, like I was talking about earlier, I'll try to do a general deck video, just going over different interactions the deck has, how to mulligan with it, and things like that. The flex spots are, in my opinion, right here. You have these 3 flex spots, and then one, I think you can flex 1 removal spot, let's just say the decay. So these are flex spots. In these spots, I would absolutely insist on at least 1 grindy slot, a tracker, Gideon, someone earlier, it might have been you, suggested the 4-drop Vraska. Sure, that's a pretty grindy threat. I like Gideon a lot more, but Plaguecrafter is intriguing. I mean, all 3 of these cards have the right to be in the deck. The problem is that we have a 75-card deck, not an 80. Yeah, well, I think opening is always wrong. Run, you always want to play against me when it's like it's 12:22. I'm so tired, and I need to bring the puppy out because she's been asleep now for 5 hours, and puppies aren't supposed to sleep that long without going out. But I am seeing you tomorrow, right? For Modern, so that'll be good. So back to Daisy's question, those are the flex spots. You could bring in an Eidolon here. You could bring in an Anafenza, Vraska. You could bring in whatever you want. Spellskite is a great option. I brought Spellskite to the Invitational. So main board, the flex spots that I really have are the Shalai, the 4th Eternal Witness, Scavenging Ooze, and the 3rd Duskwatch Recruiter. Also, I guess the 2nd Viscera Seer, although I'm pretty sold on that now. Right here. There's 5 flex spots, I think, that are in the deck right now. I think you could also, depending upon the meta, argue that the 3rd Eternal Witness is also a flex spot. So, well, that's it. We 5-0'd. If you guys have any awesome comments or anything, let me know. I'll be publishing this on YouTube shortly. I will also continue to be active in the Discord, so let me know any questions you have, and I will see you later.